What was that?
Know me. I'm a goofball.
Heyo.
It is Wednesday. Heyo. It is Wednesday. We are here all day long. Hi, welcome everybody to the OTFB, Archer Football College Edition podcast. Another great week. We have a lot to talk about. There were some great games, lots of shakeups. And then we're actually going to talk about a conference that is near and dear to me and Kate's heart, at least. Okay, not the Big Ten, guys. Okay, not the Big Ten. Relax. We're talking about, because we're talking about, this is a college football podcast, right? And there's more college football than the Big Ten and the ACC and the SEC and all that. There's the MAC. There is the MAC. If you want satisfaction, this is a place to find that MACtion.
MACtion.
Oh my gosh, let me stop. I've been a goofball. Hi, Kate. Hi, Michelle. How are we doing today?
I'll have what she's having. Michelle's wearing her substitute glasses, so
I found them somewhere. I don't even know where I found them, but I found them.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say she's gonna have to do everything off the top of her head because she can't read in her substitute glasses.
Oh, good. Michelle found her glasses.
Substitute.
Okay, Michelle find her substitutes. Okay, where are all the chats going? Because Kristen said hi, and your grandson said hi, and now they're like,
hi, Gabriel.
Hi, Gabriel. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Camden. Guys, if you guys are watching over. Hey-o.
If you are watching us on Facebook or on Twitter, y'all need to come over to YouTube because you can chat with us and we can chat back with you and we can put your comments up on the screen and we can answer questions and we can laugh at your silliness. Michelle is a pro. She's a pro's pro. She got it together. She got it together.
No, literally, Michelle is a pro's pro, y'all. You just don't know. Just don't let the smooth taste fool you. Michelle is a pro's pro. That's
don't listen to them. Don't listen to them.
Listen to them because literally she's amazing, y'all. You just don't even realize it. But that's okay. That's why we're so honored and glad to have her with us because she's literally a pro's pro. So
hey,
sorry.
Hey, Bob.
Hello. Oh, hey, Bob. Hey, Kristen. Oh, the gang's all here. All right. So first and foremost, let's just get into it. Crazy weekend of football this weekend. Our game of the weeks were really good. Really, really good. We had Georgia and Texas. We had Bama and Tennessee. Whew. Yes. Man alive.
I will throw in here that I had a rough week. I had baseball playoffs Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Did not end well for my Cleveland Guardians. Then there was that mess that we call a professional football team on Sunday, my Browns. And part of me was like, I could have used an Ohio State Buckeye victory to get me through the emotions of that weekend. But with everything else that happened, maybe them being on a bye was the best thing because they stayed in fourth spot in both polls. They're probably the only team that didn't move. Michelle, the U ain't getting no respect. 7-0 ain't getting no love. What's going on?
Just win, baby. Just win. That's how you get your respect. Just win, baby. That's all they got to do. Keep winning.
That's what
we're here. All the U needs to do is win the ACC, and we'll go from there. That's my focus.
So as it sits right now, Oregon at 1 in the coaches poll in both polls. Georgia at 2, Penn State at 3. Ohio State 4, and then Texas, Miami. The top 2 teams that win, or the top 4, right, that win their conference championship, get a bye. So to your point, Michelle, as long as Miami keeps winning, if the U wins their conference, they'll get a bye. We got 3 Big Ten teams up there, Sonia. Do we keep 3, you think, or are they going to start dropping?
I think Penn State will drop. Oregon right now, I don't see them losing too much more. They are very good. I think that I think they're staying. Oregon's staying, but I think there's going to be some shakeup there. I see Penn State dropping a little bit.
Yeah, Alabama's still on the list with 2 losses, which it hurts my heart in a lot of ways, just because there are so many good teams that only have 1 loss, right? But Bama's hanging on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to think about Texas. Ewers has got hurt again. Arch Manning's coming back in. I feel like that if he was even in the Heisman conversation, he's got to be out now. It's got to just be, Travis Hunter and Austin Jinsey really left to talk about. And then I think it's Travis's to lose right now.
And Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
And Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, I think, Travis Hunter. I mean, Ewers and we just want to give quarterbacks the Heisman, so we just throw quarterbacks in there when their teams are good, but that doesn't really make them Heisman candidates in my eyes. So neither one of those people would have been my choice. If I've already told you guys who my vote was a couple of games ago. So if I had one, I don't have one, but
but it hasn't changed, right? As long as he keeps winning,
it has not changed.
Right?
Travis Hunter is still at the top of my list, followed by Cam from the U, and depending on whether Travis keeps playing or not, then Cam may ease past him. And, the way he's playing for the Miami, he's made such a difference. I know that we've had coaching changes and so forth, but he's made such a difference to the point now where when we're down, I always feel like we're going to come back. He stays calm. He keeps me calm. He's calm. I'm calm. The team's calm. And, he just makes plays. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Every now and then he makes a couple of bad throws or bad decisions, but not a whole lot. And that's what you want to see. And so, like I said, they've never won the ACC since they've joined the conference. And so this is a start, and that's where our focus should be. I'm not even worried about the playoffs and what comes after that, but I need to win the ACC first. And we do that, and then we'll see what goes on after they select the 12.
That's right. Bro's got a dart too. Like he just effortlessly too. He's just like zink. Like and it's money. It's money. I'm like, wow.
He extends plays well, and he's always looking downfield. He's always looking downfield. You think he's gonna run, or you think sometimes I'm thinking he's moving a little too slow in the pocket, and then he finds the open man. And I love it. I swear, I'm so excited. Inside, this is about as much excitement as I show you guys.
Exactly. Michelle does not get excited very often. So when we see an excited Michelle, it's always a good thing. It is a good thing. We got a good question here in the comments. Kristen asks when Oregon plays Iowa State. Unfortunately, my friend, because Iowa State is not in the Big Ten, they will not be playing Iowa State, at least in the regular season. Now, should it work out and Iowa State keep winning, where are they ranked right now? Does anybody have the rankings put up?
I do. What do you want to know?
Iowa State. What's their ranking?
They're 10th in both.
10th in both. Okay.
Yeah, so they could see each other in the playoffs. It's top 12.
I was about to say they could see each other in the playoff, but for now, they are not going to play. Oregon doesn't even play Iowa this year, too. So Iowa is in the Big Ten like Oregon is, but they don't even play each other this year. So there's that. But that's okay. It could happen in the playoff, Kristen. It could. It very well could. Yeah, that would be very exciting, Kristen. It would be.
Yeah. Camden says, since I moved to Oregon this year, which Oregon team should I become a casual fan of? Just depends on if you want to be a fan of a winner or not. At this point in the day, I mean, do you like Ducks or Beavers? It can go either way. The Beavers are not a bad team. They're just not ranked. And I think they're still trying. They're the two teams left in the Pac-12, Oregon State and Washington State. I don't think they've made a decision of which conference they're going to go to. I'm gonna guess you're not a huge fan of Ohio State or Michigan, so maybe you like Oregon just so that you can root against me and Sonia's schools.
Right. There's that.
And their gear is cooler. If you're gonna buy the gear, I like the green and yellow of the Oregon Ducks versus Oregon State. I think they're red and black or orange and black. Yeah. So whichever color combination you prefer, Packers or Bengals. I mean, it's
really. And if you want to, be in the Big Ten, join the Big Ten, and you have a nice little rivalry going with me and Kate, so that I can not talk to you for a couple weeks next week. So yeah, I mean, there's that. Lesbians, maybe not the Ducks.
Okay, let's go. You could, if you want, you're in no pressure to make a choice today. You could wait and see which conference they end up in to see if that helps sway you one way or the other. So I'm dead. I'm dying. All right. I think they mostly got the rankings right. Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, Ohio State, Miami, Texas, LSU, Tennessee, Clemson, Iowa State round out the top 10 in both areas.
In both, yeah.
Indiana, BYU, Notre Dame, and Texas A&M. So it's at this point, Alabama's sitting at 15. They're out of the playoff mix. So I don't see anybody lower than 15 that I think. I mean, you can argue Indiana, but they'll have time to make their case by winning. They're 7-0, and if they keep winning, I think they will move up. They are a darn good football team. Really, really good team. So I don't have anything to gripe about with the rankings.
Penn State always just makes me go, really? Because like they always get ranked really high, hit like a game, and then boom, down they go.
Boom. Yeah. I think Tennessee and LSU are both going to have their and even Clemson are going to have their struggles in the stretch. Mm-hmm. So it'll sort itself out. Again, it's why I love that we got 12 teams this year and not just 4. It'll sort itself out. Michelle's just win, baby, is the rule for all of them. Just keep winning. Keep yourself in the top 12. And then in the playoffs, some of these teams are going to face their first really difficult competition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Iowa State's at 10. They're if the playoffs started tomorrow, they'd be in.
Yes. We got those Iowa State fans out last week. Yes, we did. Hello, Iowa State fans. But yeah, if they keep winning, and I kept an eye on that game. Yep, they'll be right there.
So what games were the games of the week this week that y'all wanted to? We can talk about Texas.
Oh, of course.
Texas.
Of course, we got to talk about Texas. Texas, Georgia. We're going to talk a little bit about Bama and Tennessee. Tennessee, Bama.
I did not see that game coming.
What, Tennessee, Bama?
Yeah, I did not see Tennessee beating them. I thought Bama learned their lesson from that Vanderbilt game and would get their heads on right and would be ready to play. And apparently, no.
But I think they were ready to play, but then they just kind of fizzled. I don't know. Michelle, what do you think?
We're talking about Tennessee and Alabama?
Yeah.
You know it.
Well, I thought Tennessee would win this game. Tennessee's looked pretty good this season. I think we kind of talked about it a little bit last week. And, you know, Alabama's kind of unpredictable. They probably won a couple of games they probably shouldn't have won, or, you know, the other team did something. For instance, the South Carolina game, that's a game they probably should have lost if it wasn't for South Carolina making the mistakes. But I would have picked Tennessee to win this game just because Tennessee's probably lost a couple of games. I mean, they've lost some games by under 10 points or so. But they've looked pretty good. They just sometimes don't find a way to win at the end. But you know, they had so many opportunities, and I always pronounce the quarterback's name wrong. So Lamalik or whatever, you know, Tennessee's quarterback's name is, but they had so many opportunities for home run plays, and he missed them. He missed most of them in the first half. So this score probably could have been much larger than it was. And finally, he started connecting on those plays maybe around the fourth quarter. I mean, they scored all 24 of their points in the second half. And so you think about the fact that they were going a little slow and they were keeping Alabama in the game. But I think that Tennessee probably could have blew this game out had he connected on a lot of those miscues that he had earlier. But, you know, Alabama's always fights back. So.
3 turnovers is not good.
No.
But I will say that Dylan Sampson rushed for 130 some yards. That for me was the big key to the game, that Tennessee was able to run the ball. They ran for over 200 yards, and you don't see a Bama defense give up 200 yards on the ground. And they stuck with that through the whole game, even though they were behind. So,
and that's the thing about Alabama is we want to see Nick Saban's Alabama, and this is not Nick Saban's Alabama. Nick Saban's Alabama, yes, the defense. Not this team is playing very sloppy. They got a lot of turnovers, a lot of penalties, and that's not the Nick Saban way. But this is not his team, and we have to, people think they're supposed to stay on top, and even and when we get ready to talk about Texas, I said Texas has to beat two teams to make us believe that they are as good as they are, and they played one of those last week. That's Alabama and Georgia. So just because of Nick Saban and what they've done in the past, you expect them to be where they are, and they're just not there right now. They're not there, and they don't have their identity. We want them to look like they used to be, but right now they don't know what that is.
They had 15 penalties. That is not Nick Saban football.
No, that's not Nick Saban's team no more.
It's definitely not Nick Saban's team. And then you go look at a game like Georgia, Texas, number 2 against number 3 or number 5 at the time. You knew it was going to be a good game. It was pretty balanced. I mean, from a statistical standpoint, time of possession and all that. But Texas couldn't score. Their offense only scored in the third quarter. They could not move. They had 30 rushing yards. 30.
Yep.
They had 4 turnovers.
But didn't Georgia look like Georgia again? Georgia was able to run the ball. ETN scored 3 touchdowns. Their defense was forcing turnovers. They were taking long. They looked like Georgia in this game. Texas, on the other hand, again, big game. You got to prove to me. I said they should be number 1 until they lose those games, and they weren't able. They came out so flat. I was like, "Woo, boy, this is not even close."
Their defense did their job. They had 3 takeaways. Both of them played pretty clean. When I look at penalties, Georgia had 7, Texas had 8. Everything was really close. Texas had more passing yards. Georgia had more rushing yards. But Texas's turnovers came at bad times. Do you think the coach waited too long to pull Ewers and put Manning in?
I don't think so, because I think he put him in and then came back in the second half and put Ewers back in. So I don't think it didn't matter. Georgia was ready. Yeah. Georgia was prepared for this game. They needed this game. They needed to rebound from their loss, and they were waiting, and they played in to Coach Kirby's, even when the refs tried to take it away from them, they still was able to focus and stay. And I'm sitting there like, okay, the referees, it was a terrible call, but I don't know how you made the call, you've marked the ball, and you come back and now say that you had a conversation, and you have to do that before you make that call.
Yeah,
but I don't never blame the refs.
Yeah, Arch Manning went 3 for 3 out of 6 for 19 yards. Yours was 25 of 43, and that's 58% is not good in my opinion. He had 211 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The fumbles, those 3 fumbles really hurt them. For Georgia, Carson Beck was 23 of 41, so he was right in that same range. He only had 175 yards, but Etienne had 87 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, if you don't know Etienne is going to be running the ball and plan your defense around stopping him, then you deserve to lose. Yeah, and that's exactly what they deserve to lose.
Yeah, Texas wasn't able to make a lot of the big plays that we've seen them make in earlier games. Again, the Georgia defense looked like the Georgia defense. They were able to run and control the clock and control the ball, control the offense, and pretty much control the game from start to finish. So, Texas has the rebound, but I can see Texas has LSU. They have some tough games coming up. So I don't know how that's going to work. But right now, Texas A&M and LSU is leading the SEC. Texas A&M is leading the SEC.
Right.
And we have 4 or 5 teams with 1 losses. And you have Texas A&M and LSU are the only undefeated teams right now in the SEC. So look at that.
Yep. And I'm still surprised you got a couple teams in the top 25 that are 5-2, Alabama and Vanderbilt. But part of that's because Vanderbilt beat Alabama, and Alabama is just Alabama.
They're not going to kick them out no matter what. They can lose again; they'll still be in there.
Right. But 5-2.
Agreed.
Here comes a Kate segue. Puts you at the top of the MAC rankings, with the Eastern Michigan Eagles and the Toledo Rockets both at 5-2. Neither of them are ranked. They are not going to rank a MAC team unless they beat somebody big. And you get teams like Kent State at 0-7 or Akron at 1-6 who play Michigan and Ohio State in those first couple weeks. Those are not statement games for these MAC teams. The MAC is a solid conference. Mid-American, it's Ohio, it's Michigan, it's Illinois, it's Indiana. It's right where Sonia used to be from up here near me here in Ohio.
It's also where the other Miami is.
The other Miami. The Miami, not the Miami.
Mm-hmm.
The Miami of Ohio, the Redhawks.
Yep.
The other Miami and the other Ohio.
Yes.
Correct.
Ohio University.
True.
They couldn't even afford the word state.
Hasha, is that the joke?
That is the joke. It's largely a very competitive conference, except for at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Akron and Kent State are just a hot mess. I don't know what to do to help either of those schools. Jim Tressel couldn't help Akron. I don't know why they're so down there, but most of them 5-2, 4-3, 3-4, like they're all crunched together. And they play each other pretty fierce. Some of the best matchups that you'll see this year, if you can find some, are some of these MAC matchups. Central Michigan against either of the others, Eastern or Western Michigan, are pretty rough. But I looked up some stats this week. The MAC conference names some players of the week, and we will share their players of the week with you. And some of them you might hear from me now. Pro Football Focus does. They kind of do, like sometimes on talk shows and stuff, they'll talk about like a dream team or a Mount Rushmore. They're like, who will your dream team be? Which quarterback and which this and which that position? So they do that for the Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC and the SEC. And then they do one for like all the other conferences and just kind of lump them into one. And this week, tight end Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green, left tackle Evan Malcor from Northern Illinois, left guard JJ Lippy from Northern Illinois. On the offensive side of the ball, all MAC players. And then on the defensive side, they selected Donovan Green from Eastern Michigan, Peyton Price from Eastern Michigan. They're both defensive linemen. James Jokum, who is just a beast of a linebacker, again from Eastern Michigan, and safety Barry Manning. It's no wonder Eastern Michigan is 5-2. Their defense is on point. 5 of their all-team defenders this week played for Eastern Michigan. So that tells you a lot about, what they've got going on defense. Sonia, you or Michelle want to tackle offensive players who the MAC named as their offensive players of the week this week?
For sure. And then I'll also shout out Max Crosby. You may have heard that name. Also is an Eastern Eagle. So famous
MAC alumni.
Yes, famous MAC alumni. We love some MAC alumni. Okay, so anyways, some players of the week from the MAC. You've got Cole Snyder. He's an Eastern quarterback, so Eastern's just like well represented. He is a senior out of New York, and he took the team from an 18-point deficit and brought them back to a win. So showing some leadership, showing some grit, along with that defense, giving them a nice little run there. So that's good. He had a 300-yard game this past week. And it was his first one since September of 22. So it's been a couple years. So he's doing great. Another one is Mr. Blake Bosma. He is a tight end from Western. So yes, fire up chips again. Another famous Western person is our an old wide receiver named Greg Jennings. Maybe have heard of him. Yeah. He was one.
Yeah. Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Yep, played for the Packers. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And he was very instrumental in their road win against Buffalo this past week. And so let's see.
Buffalo? Yeah, isn't that where Khalil Mack went to college?
Maybe. I think so. See?
There are a lot of MAC players that go undrafted and still make rosters. And side note, not to interrupt, I think some of those undrafted free agents work harder and have longer careers in the NFL and just very quietly go about their business.
Yeah. Not everybody. I mean, the big flashy kids can only go once, and then you gotta build up, right? Yeah. And
we won't talk about that.
Are some good ones.
Yeah, we won't talk about that quarterback from Miami of Ohio who shall remain nameless, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers for a lot of years.
Big Ben.
Well, Central Michigan was also the home of the always crazy Antonio Brown.
Yeah, time to change the subject.
I don't know if they still blame him.
I don't think they do. Who are some of the defensive players of the week, Michelle? There's some good ones.
I thought Kate went through all, defense wins championships, so I'm always happy to talk about defensive players.
I was about to say, Michelle loves her some defense.
I love me some defense because it's all about the defense. But we're talking about from Toledo, safety MACtion Hook was the defensive player of the year. He had 13 tackles and a few pass breaks up in their win against Northern Illinois. And from Miami, not the U, but Miami of Ohio, Matt Silipek, the linebacker. He's a 6-year senior. And he had 10 tackles and interception in their big win over Ohio last week. What they call the annual Battle of the Bricks. If you've never heard of it, maybe you should look into it.
I think we talked about this. We should do a whole show about some of these college football games where there's like the Little Brown Jug or the Battle of the Bricks or all of those. I think we should do that here in a couple weeks.
Where you have so many, what they call them, these type of games where they have all these battles.
But they're not. It's not like a trophy, but there's a thing that you get to take home with you. Sonia, I'll say it again. I still don't understand the gold pants. I don't understand it. I don't know what the gold pants are. I know if you sell them to get a tattoo, you get suspended, but I don't get. There's not like Ohio State, Michigan is such a huge rivalry, and there's not a thing. Like even with the Lions, the Browns had the barge for years. There is an actual barge trophy. But anyway, I'm all about special teams. I love me some kickers. They got one job. This week, Tristan Matson, the Central Michigan kicker, had a team-high 10 points. When your kicker has the most points on your team, that tells you something.
Might be a problem.
Now, I know all about that, but we're not talking about pro football, so I won't go there. I know all about that.
Oh, sorry.
He had 2 field goals over 50 yards this year. He had a season-long 56 and then a 51. Both of them were in the third quarter. He's now had 10 consecutive field goals. He's 11-12 on the year. And his 56-yarder set a new record. It was the longest by an opponent in Rainerson Stadium. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. And then Jesus Gomez from Eastern Michigan had another perfect kicking day. He's a lefty kicker, which is weird to watch because I don't know how that holder gets used to him. I've never seen a left-footed kicker in the NFL. I don't know if there is one. He was 3 for 3 on his field goals and points against in their game against Central Michigan, led the team with 12 points. He has 66 points so far this season on 15 made field goals. He's averaging 9.5 points a game. That's crazy when your kicker is your dude. So
well, you will be surprised to know that Morton Anderson was a left foot kicker.
Yes, I think I knew that. I just don't think there is one now. But I think they talked about that when he got in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. So I did look up while we were chatting other alumni in the NFL from the MAC. The late, great Jack Lambert went to Kent State. Ben Roethlisberger from Miami. Jason Taylor, defensive end, was from Akron. We mentioned Antonio Brown, the wide receiver, went to Central Michigan. Antonio Gates was one of my favorite tight ends ever, went to Kent State. He and James Harrison, the offensive lineman, went to Kent State. Khalil Mack, offensive line from Buffalo, and Joe Staley, offensive tackle, Central Michigan. So that is our chat about the MAC. A little MACtion for y'all. I'm gonna take a look at the schedule this week and see if I can find a game that might look interesting. We'll throw it out on the socials to recommend to people to catch a little MACtion. So just because they're not in the top 25 doesn't mean they're not playing really good football. Especially Eastern Michigan. If you like defensive football, you want to catch an EMU game this year.
They just had their homecoming. They won that game. Great game. The MAC's got some great action. I will never stop saying that. The MACtion. Get some good MACtion.
I think their website is getsomeMACtion.com. If you go to that, I think you're going to want to type it very carefully because if you leave some letters out, you may not get to a football website. Get some MACtion with Mac with a M. Mac.
Oh my gosh, Kate, you're such a goof. All right. That's our look into the MAC, into MACtion. Now let's take a look, see what's coming up next week. What games we might be throwing out there for y'all to kind of take a peek at. Let's see. In our top 25, what do we have? Anything? Washington, Indiana might be a pretty decent game because Washington is a pretty tough team despite their 3 losses. They're pretty good. That might be a good game to watch.
And Indiana beat the stew out of Nebraska. So, yeah, Indiana's for real. We've been talking about Indiana and Iowa State and whether these teams are for real. And, each week they keep showing up. I mean, they can only play what's on the schedule, but so far Indiana is looking pretty good.
Yep.
That's right. I think that'll be a very good one. Oh, look, it's the Florida State Miami game. That's always a good one.
Rivalries. Notre Dame Navy, that should be a good game. Notre Dame.
Yes.
I'm going to be watching Illinois Oregon. I think Illinois has put together a very good football team. This is going to be a huge test for them. I still think Oregon's going to win, but I feel like if Illinois can keep it within 7, maybe 10, they might not drop too far in the rankings. You know what I mean? If they can stay with Oregon, it kind of bums me out because I'd like them to stay in those rankings a little longer before they got to play one of those hard teams. But they're both Big Ten teams. It is what it is. You're going to have to play them. So we're going to find out a lot about Illinois this week on how they handle Oregon and maybe more about Oregon and how they handle a team they think they're better than, they think they should beat easily. Illinois is going to give them a hard time.
Texas and Vanderbilt.
Oh,
yes. Texas and Vanderbilt. I think that's going to be our second 4 o'clock or 3 around that 3-4 o'clock game. That's going can Texas rebound from their loss? And then Vandy coming off of the upset of Alabama and let's see what's happening there. I think that's going to be a pretty good one. Well, because that can move Texas down to 2 losses and move Vanderbilt. They're number 25, so they need to go up a little bit. They need
to move one way or the other. They lose this game, they're out of the rankings for the year. They win this game, and I think they could pop up into the top 20, beating Alabama. And then if they can find a way to win this week, I think that'll do a lot for them. My pick for trap game of the week is Penn State against Wisconsin. Some of those games in conference, some of those teams get up for these games like it's their Super Bowl. Wisconsin is going to give Penn State everything they can handle, and Penn State's going to be looking past them. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if once Wisconsin comes out of this week with the win.
Not at all. Not at all. They're a very good team too.
Yeah. All right. Well, that sounds like we have our 4.
I think so.
Oh, Kristen, it's going to be Miami. It's going to be the U.
They're just going to keep winning.
It's going to be the U. They're just going to keep winning.
Michelle won't say. She won't pick. She won't jinx it. But she knows.
She knows. Almost cost me my relationship a long, long time.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about Florida State this week. I think Miami should do pretty good there. Yeah. That's all I got to say.
All right. Kim wants to hear more about the Battle of the Bricks. So our time is up for this week, but maybe next week that's what we'll do is we will talk about instead of picking a whole conference next week, we'll pick a bunch of these different awards or trophies or things that these teams fight for. And we'll talk about some from each of the conferences and share a little information with you, silly trivia that you can astound your friends with and win bar bets with.
Exactly. We're all about helping y'all win bar bets and things, as always, because that's what we do.
We're so
all right, you guys. Well, we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat place. 8 p.m. next Wednesday to talk some more college and to talk and learn about some of these battles. So y'all be safe, have fun, and we'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.